Now on River Region Evening Edition. The attacks on Paris hits close to home for some students on campus. The SIU Department of Public Safety is making changes to its emergency procedures. And many students are experiencing delays in making appointments with counselors at the health center.
News from around the world, across the nation, and here in the River Region. This is the award-winning Student Newscast, coming to you live from Southern Illinois University. River Region Evening Edition begins now.
Police in Paris conducted a raid on two apartments of two terror suspects this morning. Good evening, I'm Joe Fry.
And I'm Joey Dalo. River Region reporter Colin Dorsey reached out to two SIU students affected by the attacks.
The attacks in Paris left many people in Carbondale worried about family and friends. SIU student Rashad Najib of Saudi Arabia was worried when he heard of the attacks.
And I called my cousin a couple of times for like 6 hours of trying to reach him. He didn't answer, he didn't do anything. So I freaked out. I was like, I need to make sure that he's okay.
Rashad is a follower of the Islamic faith. He says that there has already been a spike in Islamophobia, but he says that Muslim people are not to blame.
A religion itself is not violent, whether Islamic, Jewish, Christian, or everything. It's the people who are violent. Being from that religion doesn't mean that religion told you to do that thing.
Paris native Waris Akadiri says he didn't hear from his family until 3 days after the attack.
I still feel bad though because it's where I'm from, you know what I mean? So it's kind of hard.
These are just two of the people in Carbondale affected by the attacks in Paris. For River Region Evening Edition, I'm Colin Dorsey reporting.
During a raid today, one suicide bomber blew herself up and a police sniper took out a second terror suspect. Belgian state media reports the woman was the cousin of the Paris attacks ringleader.
The Paris attacks are also affecting people across the U.S. A trip to Washington by about 250 eighth graders this week is canceled. The Ohio school announced on Facebook that the trip would be postponed due to specific threats against our nation's capital. Parents have mixed feelings about the decision.
I mean, their first thought is to keep our kids safe, so I would agree that that's probably the safest bet.
It's a great learning opportunity for the kids that hopefully they're just postponing and they'll get a chance to go later on in the year.
Recent video that appears to be from ISIS warned of an attack on Washington. The school has not made a decision on rescheduling the trip.
Well, the city of Carbondale was almost like the Windy City in Chicago today.
Colin Dorsey will tell us what to expect to see tonight.
It was awfully gusty out there today, and our temperatures have been quite a bit above average for this time of year. Looking at tonight, pretty clear skies. 42 is your overnight low. By morning tomorrow around 9 o'clock, 49 degrees and beautiful sunny skies as those clouds today moved out of the area. Then tomorrow around noon, 54 is your high, and like I said, we've been above average, but a cool down may be coming ahead. I'll have more in my forecast coming up in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Colin. A Carbondale community group is pushing SIU to review its sexual assault policies and reopen an investigation into a freshman's rape complaint. A group known as the Consent Party is organizing a letter-writing campaign over a case involving a female student who claims she was sexually assaulted by a male classmate in late August. Group leader Amanda Braden says the school did not find enough evidence to charge the student with the sexual assault. A university spokeswoman declined to discuss the case to maintain student confidentiality.
The SIU Department of Public Safety released a guide today explaining what to do in the event of emergency on campus. The guide is in response to recent reports of shootings at other colleges and universities. The department is also providing in-person violence prevention training to members of the campus community the first Wednesday of each month. Lieutenant House says that although the training is not required, he recommends that everyone should attend.
We would rather you have knowledge of this before it occurs than to start thinking of it when it occurs. Knowledge is the key, planning is the key, and I think even recognition of things that you can recognize as a student, faculty, or staff member that we might have an early warning sign of what is about to happen.
The one-page guide is available for printing on the DPS website. The Department of Homeland Security also has online resources for anyone who wants to know what to do in the event of an active shooter.
Carbondale's Varsity Center for the Arts has been approved for a liquor license change. After a unanimous city council vote, the theater now will have a performing arts venue license as opposed to a bar license. The Varsity will still sell beer and wine, but the change could help the not-for-profit save hundreds of dollars a year.
After the break, many students have been experiencing delays at the campus counseling center.
And oil prices are at their lowest point in months.
You may see a police car in southern Illinois with a controversial bumper sticker. It says, "In God We Trust." Agencies that are allowing the bumper stickers include the Sheriff's Department in Perry and Jefferson counties and the police in the city of Cesar. Many citizens are praising the move, but others question its use on government vehicles, saying it endorses religious beliefs. The Freedom from Religion Foundation has sent 63 objection letters to law enforcement agencies across the country, including the one in Jefferson County.
The counseling center sees roughly 10% of the student body, and lately it hasn't been easy to get into their appointment books right away. SIU senior Rachel Slick was told she would have to wait to see a regular clinician until after Christmas break.
I realized that if that was someone in a more severe situation or someone that took months to finally decide that they wanted help with something more serious than what I'm going through, then they were turned away, and that could have been a lot more detrimental than just me having to wait.
However, Director of the Counseling and Psychological Center, Jamie Clark, says the center now offers more services than they ever have. They now offer a clinician on hand at residence halls in the medical center and have incorporated specific programs such as eating disorder and gender transitioning programs.
Students, to my knowledge, have not waited more than 2 weeks, and our goal is to get them assigned really within a week. But at the really busy times, we do operate on a small wait list.
Clark says the center ensures students in need of a crisis counseling should not have to wait more than 10 minutes, but seeing a regular physician requires a little longer wait.
The Heartland Community College is preparing for a potential strike, but the school's president says the classes will continue whether it happens or not. The faculty union has given the Bloomington School notice on intent of strike. Both sides are disagreeing over several issues, including a pay raise. A meeting with a mediator is scheduled for Friday.
Another Sinaloa drug cartel member is awaiting sentencing in Chicago. Tomas Arevalo Renteria could get 10 years in prison for delivering heroin and cocaine from Mexico to Chicago. But prosecutors want a longer sentence, 25 years, saying he's a coordinator for the cartel. Arevalo Renteria's lawyers argue that 25 years would be too harsh for someone at the bottom of the cartel's command. Prosecutors in Chicago have convicted half a dozen Sinaloa figures so far.
Efforts are underway to form a task force to get equal rights for transgender people. Illinois Congressman Mike Quigley is joining other Democrats to create a task force for transgender equality. The task force would investigate the most common challenges for transgender people, including violence, homelessness due to housing discrimination, and unemployment.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2015 CNN Hero of the Year is Maggie Doyne.
Maggie Doyne is a New Jersey woman who used her babysitting savings to change the lives of hundreds of women and children from Nepal. A decade ago, Doyne's backpacking trip to Nepal transformed into a long-term commitment. With $5,000, she bought land and worked with the community to build a school, a women's center, and a children's home. Her foundation supports these efforts.
If you had told me when I turned 18 that I was going to be the mom of 50 kids, I would have told you that you were totally crazy, and I am. And to my kids, I love you so much. Don't ever forget how much I love you. And to the country of Nepal, thank you so much for loving me and accepting me as a daughter and welcoming me into your country.
Doyne was chosen from this year's top 10 heroes in an online vote. She gets a $100,000 prize.
Oil prices are falling again, and drivers may benefit at the pump. The price for a barrel of crude dropped below $40 today for the first time since August. Oil prices have fallen 14% this month alone. Experts blame the drop on a massive supply increase from OPEC nations, as well as growth in the U.S. oil production. The low oil prices should mean good news for U.S. drivers enjoying gas prices hovering around just about $2. But it could be a detriment for oil companies struggling to make money.
A new study by human rights and migrants advocates groups finds that migrant detention rates in Mexico are up 73% since 2014. Nearly 168,000 migrants were detained from July 2014 to June of this year after the announcement of an operation to increase security along the country's southern border. According to the Washington Office on Latin America, this increased migration enforcement has worrying implications due to reports of migrants being injured or killed during operations.
Iran is cutting back on nuclear programs re-engineered into making weapons for a deal between 6 world powers. The implementation day cutback began October 18th and is now showing a reduced number of centrifuges used to enrich uranium. As of November 15th, a little over 11,000 centrifuges remain standing at Iran's main enrichment center, which is over 300 fewer than before implementation day. Other results have shown reductions at smaller facilities as well.
Colin Dorsey has the latest in our weather forecast right after the break.
And the stock market saw a large jump today. Tune into the nightly business report at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Colin Dorsey with your River Region weather forecast. Here's what you can expect in the days ahead. We do have a cold weekend coming up in the evenings. Also along with that is a chance of rain, but we are experiencing some above average temperatures for this time of year. Looking right now outside in Jackson County and Carbondale, mostly sunny skies conditions, or actually mostly clear right now. The sun did set just a few minutes ago. 58 degrees, however, dew point at 49 degrees. Relative humidity at 72%, pretty high from that rain we've had over the past 2 days. That wind gusting out of the southwest of up to 20 miles per hour. It gusted up to 29 is what we can see that. But looking at your almanac, our high for today is where, or our low for today is where we were is 55. Our high was 64, quite a bit above our average temperatures of 33 and 56. We got all the way down to 12 degrees in 1959 and up to 80 in 1983. Your temperatures outside right now, 58 in Carbondale, 59 in Mount Vernon. Marion coming in quite a bit warmer than everybody else at 63 degrees. Paducah at 60, Cape Girardeau at 59 degrees. Looking at your surface map across the United States, right now we are seeing a relative calm in all of the state of Illinois and most of the Midwest. Looking out into our northern plains region, they are seeing some turbulent weather up here as that cool weather or cold air moving in from the from Canada moves in, causing some storms up in North and South Dakota. Looking at your wind speeds for tomorrow, right around 1 o'clock p.m. As you can see in southern Illinois, they have slowed down quite a bit compared to what we saw today. We won't see any of those wind gusts of up to 30 miles per hour. We're going to stick around in the teens. And then your temperature map into tomorrow, once again, those slightly above average temperatures at the mid 50s to the lower 60s. Though the farther north you move, the cooler they get. Florida, though, experiencing around 90 degrees right now. For tonight, expect an overnight low of 42 degrees and clear skies. Winds out of the southwest up to 25 miles per hour. Sun setting just a while ago at 4:43. By tomorrow, 56 degrees is your high and mostly clear skies with winds out of the west northwest up to 15 miles per hour. And then into tomorrow night, we are expecting pretty clear skies. It's going to get pretty cool though, 32 degrees. So bring in those plants, whatever else that could possibly freeze. Make sure to bring those in. Light winds though, however, light and variable. Looking into your 5-day weather forecast into Friday, 58 degrees is your high for the day and mostly cloudy skies. Overnight low of 38. Saturday brings a chance of rain with a high of 43 degrees. It's going to get really cold on Saturday night at 23 degrees.
So, Colin, do you expect the wind to be just as bad as it was earlier today?
I hope not. We're going to say it's going to be pretty calm over the next couple days as those temperatures do kind of make a dive.
I'm not looking for that 23 on Saturday.
I don't
Does
think
not
anybody
sound good.
is.
Sounds like winter.
Make sure to break out those coats.
Definitely. Thank you, Colin.
Thank you, Colin.
The SIU men's basketball team concludes a 3-game homestand tonight.
And the Saluki softball team has released their spring schedule. Zach Thomas has more in sports.
The Chicago Cubs may complete a trifecta of off-season awards tonight, and one volleyball player has made strides to help SIU into the MVC tournament. All that and more coming up on River Region Sports. The men's basketball team returns to action tonight, hosting Kent State for a non-conference matchup. The Salukis play their third home game of the season before heading to Texas to play Sam Houston State on Saturday. The Salukis are 2-0 heading into tonight's matchup against the Golden Flashes. Head coach Barry Hinson says the game is a good test for a season still in its infancy.
That's why we wanted to play this game where we're playing it right now. Most guys would have pushed this game back a little bit, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to find out early on where we are. It's a big challenge for us.
Tip-off for tonight's game is set for 7 p.m. at SIU Arena on ESPN3. The Saluki volleyball team is 2 wins away from finishing first in the MVC. One redshirt sophomore has improved her game, helping her team improve theirs. River Region reporter Sean Conway has the story.
Andrea Estrada is the Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Week. After serving a 2-match suspension, the redshirt sophomore returned to help the Salukis achieve an 8-match winning streak.
I mean, it's my first time and it's really, it feels good, seeing yourself out there and everyone, looking at you and congratulating you and saying that you did a really good job.
Over the weekend, Estrada led the Saluki offense, averaging 6.14 kills per set against Illinois State and Indiana State. The outside hitter has worked hard this season to improve her efficiency on the court.
Last year, I got, a decent amount of kills, but my hitting percentage was not good. It was for an outside hitter, it's supposed to be 23%, and I was 19. Right now, I'm at 24, which increased 4% a lot.
With only 2 key conference matchups left before the Missouri Valley Conference tournament, the Salukis have a very good chance of finishing in first place in the MVC.
Well, for now, we're focused on this weekend because this will give us the results that we want for the MVC. We want that bye for sure.
Winning out the season would secure a top-seeded rank in the MVC tournament next week. For Evening Edition Sports, I'm Sean Conway.
Estrada and the Salukis hit the road this weekend to close out the regular season. They head to Wichita State on Friday and then to Springfield, Missouri to face the Missouri State Bears on Saturday night. The Saluki softball team announced their schedule for the 2016 season. They will also host the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament at Charlotte West Stadium. This is the 4th time the team hosts the conference tournament since opening the confines in 2003. The Salukis begin the year with 5 preseason tournaments throughout February. Then they return home for the Coach B Classic on March 5th through the 6th. Butler, Eastern Illinois, and Kansas all come to Carbondale to take on the Salukis in that tournament. For more information about the schedule, visit www.siusalukis.com. Less than a month into this year's NBA season, we have our first head coach to get fired. The Houston Rockets have let go of former head coach Kevin McHale after the team's dismal 4-7 start. McHale was in his 5th season coaching the Rockets and led them to the Western Conference Finals last season. J.B. Bickerstaff will be the interim coach for the rest of this year. Houston is currently 2nd worst in the league with almost 109 points allowed per game. The Chicago Cubs could have 3 off-season awards to wrap up a historic turnaround. After Chris Bryant won Rookie of the Year and Joe Madden won Manager of the Year in the National League, Jake Arrieta has a shot to take the NL Cy Young. Arrieta led the MLB with wins with 22 and set a career-low 1.77 ERA. The ace helped the Cubs to a 97-65 record, their best mark since 2008. Arrieta will compete for the award against Los Angeles Dodgers pitchers Clayton Kershaw and Zach Greinke. At this hour, both the NL and AL Cy Young Awards are being handed out on the MLB Network. Houston Astros hurler Dallas Keuchel was just announced as the American League Cy Young Award winner. He's the first Houston pitcher to win the award since Roger Clemens did so in 2005.
So do you think Arrieta's got a shot against both those aces for the Dodgers?
I think so, but Zach Greinke pitched an outstanding season. He'll be probably the toughest to go against.
Arrieta was really tough in the second half. We'll see. Thank you, Zach.
When we come back, Colin Dorsey will give us one last look at our weekend weather forecast.
And some penguins forgot to cover their tracks during a jailbreak. Find out more after the break. Here's some of the stories making news in the days ahead. A leading scholar on world policy and law will discuss foreign policy in the Middle East tonight. SIU School of Music will celebrate a day of percussion on Saturday. And SIU basketball wraps up a 3-game home set here at home. Join us Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock for River Region Evening Edition.
A daring jailbreak attempt, caught on camera, becomes even more intense when the escapees are cornered. Did I mention they are cute, little fluffy penguins? A daring escape mission was foiled at a Denmark zoo when a group of penguins was caught red-flippered making a break for it. Zoo employees knew something was up when they spotted these little tracks in the snow. Then, when they confronted them, the flock flees. Maybe the penguins' plans were inspired by those crafty penguins and the penguins of Madagascar.
Well, hopefully it's not so cold this weekend that we see penguins in Carbondale. Colin, can we have the weather?
It's sure going to feel like it. Looking into that Saturday night, temperature 23 and 26 on Sunday. So it's going to get pretty cold. Make sure you bring out those coats, bring in those outdoor plants. Just make sure that you keep warm.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at River Region News. I'm Joey Dalo.
And I'm Joe Fry. For Colin Dorsey, Zach Thomas, and more than 100 students who work on Evening Edition, good night.